Hey everyone, Irish Husky here. Before we start, I'd like to do a plug for some projects by one of our regulars, Yoda Jax. For those who are unaware, Yoda Jax is a very passionate animation enthusiast, so much so that he's written several stories crossing over different characters, worlds, and scenarios from his favorite cartoons and movies. These include Snow White and the Hundred Acre Wood, which combines Snow White with Winnie the Pooh, SquarePants Are Magic, which crosses over SpongeBob SquarePants with MLP Friendship is Magic, and the project whose cover you see here, Animation Acres, an anthology of stories combining characters from all sorts of animated universes. Disney, MLP, SpongeBob, South Park, Fairly Odd Parents, and many more. Having read these myself, I can tell you that they're just a really fun time, and Yoda Jax manages to capture the spirit of these characters really well. If you're interested in checking them out, I've provided links in the description. And, that's about it. Enjoy the podcast. Hello everyone, welcome back to Mouse Madness. If you don't know who I am by this point, get with the program. I'm your host, Nicholas Heaney, aka Irish Husky, and I'm joined here by my regular squad.
Hello everyone. I'm still Wesley Hunt, been here since episode 1, and I am so glad we made it to the Elite 8. I am really impressed with the quality of these films. We have diverse representation from a lot of eras and really strong films overall, so I'm pleased with the voting.
And I just want to say Steve is in Smash. That is all.
Did
you see my Cinderella tweet? I put in the Discord also.
Hang on a sec, let me...
My Star Giant came up with that one, and she said, "Hey, put that on Twitter." I'm like, okay.
Yes. All right, let's get through the rest of the intros.
That's all I wanted to say. Steven's in Smash.
Glad to have you back too.
I'm Carrick Raccoon Bro Namnet, as always.
Yeah, and you just had a birthday, if I recall.
That's right.
Oh yeah, I'm 21. I'm of legal drinking age.
Did you?
Yeah, happy birthday.
I had a drink with my family called Super Smash Berries. It's
nice.
It's bourbon with blackberry.
Wow.
Actually, that doesn't sound half bad.
But it's like I'm a lightweight, so like I just had like a few sips.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to ruining myself in the near future, like gradually.
Gotta.
And last but not least.
Hello, everyone. I'm Yoda Jats 10, aka Jats Lennox. I'm happy to be here. I am a reviewer of animation. I also write a lot of stories based on animation. And I'm also a voice impressionist. I do the lights of Mr. Krabs for SpongeBob, and also Patrick for SpongeBob.
Patrick, that's a pickle.
What's something? I'm trying to think of something he said. It's like, oh, come on, SpongeBob, you never heard of Wombo? He, she, he, Wombo, Womboing. I wonder if
a drop this high could be enough to kill me.
But don't genius live in a lamp?
Yeah.
You had it set to them.
And also, quick announcement, this podcast is now on Spotify, Google Podcast, Overcast, and various other apps. I'm shooting for Stitcher, but we're not quite there yet.
Whoa, we're on Spotify?
I ported it. I used this thing called Anchor that can organize your podcasts into a format, and I got accepted by Spotify and Google Podcasts.
Wesley, you are a boss. I love you.
Thank you, Nick. I try.
That is really cool.
I love you.
Podcast now.
I love you.
I think you laid it on there a teensy bit thorough, pal.
Yeah. But anyway, let's
try it this way.
last week's results.
Right. I forgot to post an update last week, so sorry about that. But
we're just gonna kind of like fly right in.
All right, so a brief update on last week's results. From Class C, we had Pinocchio versus The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and Winnie the Pooh won 6-9. Nice.
Yeah.
I just made Pinocchio my bitch.
Oh,
No.
and he's
69
wood, so
69 months? No, 6 to 9 months.
All right. Also from Class C, we had Zootopia versus Aladdin, and in a surprising twist, Zootopia ended up losing. Aladdin won 8 votes to 5.
but that's only based on our prognostications.
Yeah.
But in terms of seeding, it's not an upset, but still, it's kind of surprising.
It's funny
Indeed.
because I thought Zootopia would win, but I still had Aladdin winning in my seed. So
I wonder how much this podcast determines the results.
try wrapping your head around that one.
All right, moving on to Class D, we had The Lion King versus Tarzan. I'm one of the few people who stands up for Tarzan, but that didn't matter because Lion King stomped it 12 votes to 3. And then finally, we had Hercules versus Lilo and Stitch. And this one was a blowout 10-4 in favor of Lilo and Stitch.
10-4.
Wow.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch also, I think, the most recent film to advance, considering Zootopia got knocked out. So
I believe so.
that means every year except for Revival and Wartime got represented here.
Indeed. Well, now that we're in the Elite Eight, that also means that, not only did 8 films move on, it also means that 50 films have been eliminated. I cannot believe, when I put it like that, it seems so massive.
Right.
Man.
Good Lord, I can't believe we've already gotten this far. I'm gonna be sad when this is over because this is a lot of fun.
Feels like yesterday we just started.
Honestly, I'm still a little. I think with Lilo and Stitch, I feel like it's probably one of the last classic Disney films, I guess you could say. Considering it's made it this far.
Yeah.
And I'm still simping for my boy Ralph. He should have gone on.
He got busted by the tiebreaker, unfortunately.
He got busted by the Tide Breaker.
Ha!
Because it was the Little Mermaid.
Ah, yes.
I'm surprised Ralph didn't try to crash our internet server.
Don't you mean break our internet server?
Yeah. Or wreck it.
It should have been Rex the Internet.
Well, that would have been a little bit obvious.
Especially if they did away with the super title. If there was going to be Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, it would make more sense. But Ralph Wrecks the Internet would have been more logical.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. Well, in any case, this week we're going to be talking about all the films in the Elite Eight. These are the class championships. Winners of these rounds move on to the Final Four. This is the moment that I have been waiting for. So, that said, let's jump into this week's selections. From Class A, we have the 9 seed, The Emperor's New Groove, the feel-good story of the tournament. I am still in awe at how far it's come. So for a brief recap of its journey, it started out in round 1 against the 8 seed, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. It won in a shutout landslide, 15 votes to 0. But that was kind of an easy, kind of a warm-up round for Emperor's New Groove. The real challenge came in round 2 when it faced off against the overall number 1 seed, Beauty and the Beast. I don't know if any of us expected it to even stand a chance against Beauty and the Beast, but it won by a 2-to-1 ratio, 20 votes to 10.
Beauty and the Beast, the number 1 overall seed, also the only 1 seed not to even win a game.
It didn't even win once.
That's still hilarious to me.
Like the animated film that got nominated for a Best Picture was beat out by The Emperor's New Groove. That's a story for the history books.
It doesn't matter how you parse it. That is insane.
Yeah.
I'm on. That's the craziest thing to happen to me all year.
I guess you can say that the Beast threw off The Emperor's Groove.
Yeah, and so we had to we threw him out immediately because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. In the Sweet 16, it had a bit more of a challenge against Moana, but it still managed to trump it pretty heavily, 13 votes to 5. And now it's in the Class A championships. And its competitor is the 7-seed Mulan. Still kind of shocked that it started out as the 7 seed, because I would have expected it to start a lot higher. But evidently, the seeding doesn't matter all that much. Right. In round 1, it started off against the 10-seed Rescuers Down Under, and it curb stomped it 12 votes to 2. Again, kind of an obvious decision. And once again, the second round was a less obvious decision at first when it faced off against the 2-seed Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. It won 20 votes to 5. I believe that is the highest margin of victory for a non-shutout.
Yeah.
Classic case of just, improving upon the groundwork that was already laid out.
Indeed. I actually thought it was going to put up a stronger fight in round 3 against the 3-seed Little Mermaid, but this one actually ended up being the widest margin of victory since round 1. Granted, it was only 9 votes to 3, but that's still 3 times the votes, so it gets the spot.
Percentages skew.
I'm kind of amazed that in Class A, the 2 finalists are the 9-seed and the 7-seed.
I mean, we went off of IMDb for this, right?
IMDb and Metacritic.
It's a combination of critics and audiences.
I guess they didn't account for the internet.
Right.
I guess not.
Or the people who specialize in animation.
True.
Do you think maybe the Mulan remake coming out helped it with the score at all?
I think
I don't know.
Because, giving people a greater appreciation for the original?
Could be.
I'm waiting till it's free to give it a little bit of a chance, but I'm not spending that money. I'm not.
I saw CellSpec's review that told me what I need to know.
I saw Schaefer Ellis's review.
Just
Oh, Carrick went MIA, but so is this where we discuss?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, check out the Mulan that came out in 2009. That live action one. That's actually a good one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is it more based off the Chinese legend and not just remaking Disney?
Yeah, making the remake even more pointless.
Wow.
Right.
Man.
The funny thing is, Animat actually did a watches of the Legend of Mulan, except it was with bugs.
Oh yeah, Mulan crossed over with A Bug's Life. That's pretty.
What an odd combination.
I mean, a bug is a supporting character in the original Mulan.
Cricket.
Yeah.
Cricky, that was his name.
And he got turned into a human.
Yeah.
That's weird.
In the remake, he did.
Ugh.
But
Man. Let's move on to Class B.
Couldn't even make him like a Jiminy Cricket type character.
Yeah, why not?
All right, enough about the remake. Let's move on to Class B.
Right.
All right, our first finalist is the 1-seed Fantasia. As a 1-seed, it got an automatic bye in round 1. It had its first actual competition in round 2 against the Princess and the Frog. And this was actually a pretty close matchup, 10 votes to 8, but Fantasia ended up winning out in the end. In the Sweet 16 round, it went up against the 4-seed 101 Dalmatians. And this was a surprisingly low turnout for this matchup, only 7-4. Fantasia ended up getting the win anyway, but I feel like if it had been a higher pool, Fantasia would have won out in any case.
Yeah.
It's just one of those movies that, even if people don't necessarily like it, they highly respect it as, a pinnacle of animation.
Leave it to Fantasia to destroy 2 of my favorite Disney films.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. The other round 2. I can't talk today. The other Class B finalist, the 3-seed Cinderella. It did not get a bye in round 1, but it might as well have. It faced off against Dinosaur and curb stomped it 11-0.
Man.
The one Disney film that people forget is a Disney film.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you mean people weren't going to forget about the Love Monkey?
Yes, yes, they will.
Oh, man, that movie. I'm actually more forgiving of it than a lot of people, but it never stood a chance.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, in round 2, it went up against the 6-seed Frozen and beat it out 10 votes to 5.
That's the very infamous matchup that we all love talking about.
I think that's our most viewed video.
Is it?
On this.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
100.
Wow.
So yeah, that was our most watched.
Yeah, I think that discussion alone lasted 45 minutes.
Right.
Anyway. All right, Sweet 16, it went up against the 2-seed Dumbo, and I think of all the Sweet 16 matchups, this was the largest margin of victory, 13 votes to 1.
Wow.
It's funny, like those 2 films, like there isn't that large of a time span between them, yet Cinderella still beat it out heavily.
Right, and also these 2 are the oldest films still standing.
That's
I was
true.
unsure how voters would treat movies made pre-Renaissance, but these 2 films stood out and were able to connect with people.
Exactly.
So basically, this matchup is going to be like seeing 2 senior citizens have a fist fight.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, Fantasia is often considered Disney's magnum opus from an animation standpoint, but for the direct storytelling movies, it seems like Cinderella is the one that has the highest acclaim. As far as the ones that he worked on.
Made Disney what it is today. They built their whole studio and their franchise on the movie.
I mean, these 2 films
essentially
basically
the quintessential epitome of what Disney stands for.
Exactly.
Yeah, in fact, I actually recently heard that the director of Casablanca actually sent Walt Disney a letter about Cinderella saying that this was his masterpiece.
Wow.
Quite high acclaim from the guy whose film was and still is ranked as one of the greats of all time.
I still need to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to Class C. The first finalist in Class C, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, the 4-seed. It started off against the 13-seed Make Mine Music, a movie that you care about so little you probably forgot it exists.
Disney tried to bury it almost as much as Song of the South. So.
I know. It doesn't even exist on Disney+.
I watched Song of the South with my mom recently.
Really?
How did that go?
Well, maybe I should save my thoughts for another podcast.
Right.
Probably a good idea. Anyway, Winnie the Pooh won 8 votes to 1. No surprises there. In round 2, it went up against the 12-seed Fantasia 2000 and curb stomped it 12-3.
Good for them.
And then in the Sweet 16, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, it faced off against the 1-seed Pinocchio and won 9-6. So there we have it. Winnie the Pooh, a finalist for Class C. But it's going to have a tough time going up against its competitor, the 2-seed Aladdin. So, Aladdin had a pretty rough start. It was going up against a very formidable competitor in the 15-seed Chicken Little. It was close. It was brutal. But in the end, 14-1 in victory of Aladdin.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It was like the Clash of Titans.
Yeah.
A total bomb disaster.
That way.
Fun fact, guys. The voice of Buck Cluck, Gary Marshall, actually helped Robin Williams actually become a star.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, that is true.
Thematic connections. Cool.
How about that?
Yeah,
All right.
I always found that pretty cool.
Okay, Buck Cluck. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
All right. All right, moving on to round 2, Aladdin faced off against the 7 seed, the Great Mouse Detective. Great Mouse Detective got a grand total of 1 vote from yours truly. 13 people voted for Aladdin, so it got the win.
Yeah, but I also want to say, just because a film was eliminated early doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't worth watching.
Exactly. I mean, look at Rescuers Down Under. It got eliminated in round 1, but it got eliminated to Mulan. That's not an indicator of Rescuers Down Under's quality, which is still pretty damn high.
Just think about the competition.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Wreck-It Ralph lost to The Little Mermaid, and I totally get that.
I mean, if you lose early, it's okay to lose early on, so long as the competitor you lost to makes it really far. It makes the loss hurt less.
How do you think I feel about Meet the Robinsons losing to Peter Pan? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, man. And Peter Pan lost in round 2. And the one it lost to lost in round 3.
That hurts so much. It just never ends.
I'm just as salty as you are, man.
No.
But to finish Aladdin's journey to the Elite Eight, it faced off against the 3 seed Zootopia, and for the first time, Aladdin's competitor got more than a single vote. Granted, it got 5 against Aladdin's 8, but still, it was the first time that Aladdin actually had a challenger.
Neat.
Yeah, I gotta say, I am very happy that Aladdin moved on.
Yeah.
I am too.
Because we've talked about how Winnie the Pooh is like a part of our childhood, but Aladdin to an extent is a part of my childhood too.
It's part of mine too.
Yeah, mine too.
Wasn't part of mine. Hooray, I'm different.
We love you for being devil's advocate.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah. We have kind of like your character arc about us easing you into the canon.
Yeah. That's the beauty of this tournament.
Easing you into the canon, and then we fire you out of it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
I think of this as sort of like a cultural study for you. It's like you in school again.
I thought you were about to say think of this as a cult.
Okay.
Oh, that's later.
All right. So let's go to Class D. So Class D, the first member of the Elite Eight, is the 1 seed, the Lion King, to the surprise of literally nobody. I think most of us have this one winning the whole thing, or at least making it to the finals.
At least.
In any case, Lion King got an automatic bye in round 1 because it was the 1 seed. It faced off against the 8 seed Hunchback of Notre Dame in the second round, which I honestly thought was going to be a much closer competition than it was, but Lion King won 15 votes to 4. I guess I can't be too surprised, but I really thought that Hunchback would have put up a stronger fight.
I'm not that surprised because it's like they're both masterpieces, but one has like more noticeable flaws than the other.
True, but I mean, Hunchback's defenders, they'll give up their lives to defend this movie.
Yeah,
and I get that. That's how I am with Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, I feel you. Anyway, in the Sweet 16 round, Lion King went up against Tarzan. 2 movies about Africa, and the one starring non-humans ended up winning out. So, I mean, technically they both starred non-humans.
Well, right. I mean, they were both films starred humans, like as playing the characters, Nick.
Well, sure, if you want to get technical.
They didn't have
a dog voice act, or a cat in this case.
Although that would be very avant-garde.
I guess so.
I should point out that I've just seen like all 3 of the original Lion King films, like just yesterday and today, and like they still freaking hold up. Yeah. They're freaking like the first one especially. It's just a freaking masterpiece.
Yeah. So it's little wonder that Lion King ended up winning 12-3. And now it has to face its next competitor in Lilo and Stitch, the 7 seed. The second 7 seed to make it to the Elite Eight, in fact, after Mulan. So in round 1, this was yet another case of both movies being well respected, but one's clearly superior. It faced off against the 10 seed Bolt.
Oh,
And
yeah,
this is a
man.
movie that I probably feel the most bad for, and is probably the strongest indicator of just because it gets eliminated early doesn't mean it's bad.
I think maybe also part of the reason it didn't make it is because John Travolta has become kind of a meme recently.
While you were still learning how to spell your name, I was being trained to start with Hannah Montana.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, 11 votes to 1, Lilo and Stitch moved on to face off the 2-seed Bambi. And I know, Wesley, you're still ride or die for that movie.
Yep.
But apparently the public was not as committed to it as you were. Lilo and Stitch won 13 votes to 4.
I like being in the minority for this one. Respectfully, I dissent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good on you.
Yeah. And then for the Sweet 16 round, it faced off against the 6-seed Hercules. The power of the gods was not on their side, though. Lilo and Stitch won 10 to 4.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny how that matchup came around just as that was becoming a meme.
Yeah. I'm even though Hercules lost, I'm still happy that I at least got my mom to enjoy that movie, like make her give it a second chance.
Yeah.
She's very big in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
So,
hooray, character development.
That's cool.
yeah, the best kind, off screen.
Yeah.
So, there we go. 58 movies started, 50 were eliminated, these 8 remain. So since there's only 4 of us, we're not going to go person by person, but instead we're going to make this more like an actual kind of a roundtable debate. Jumping in whenever we can with whatever points we want to make, defending the movies we think deserve to move on. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think considering how there's so few movies in general, this will help with the podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
plus, considering how popular Among Us is, it seems like audiences really enjoy arguments among Discord friends.
Yeah,
there you go.
Sharing sus.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Scion looking sus over there.
I want to start playing that game. It looks fun.
It's very fun.
Required you to have friends, though.
What's the exact difference between a round table and this? Like, the big round tables I've been aware of were the French's Magic ones that were like a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, anyway, let's get this debate started. We're going to start with Class A, The Emperor's New Groove versus Mulan. Now, I have to use the bathroom real quick, so I'm just going to let you guys take it over. Proceed.
All right.
Oh, cool.
Emperor's New Groove and Mulan. This is kind of a funny one because I had to revisit both films as an adult to try and get a picture. This was a case where I had vague, good memories of watching them in my youth, but watching them later, they really hold up. So this is kind of an at odds for me because they're both really good, but in different ways. Mulan's a good character. It has a great story. And Mulan as a character has been diverse and praised enough to be rally cry for liberals and conservatives alike. So having her in this spot kind of feels fitting, especially with the remake coming out. Emperor's New Groove, though, the darling of this tournament, is one that had a lot of people reconnect to it and perhaps even rediscover how great it was. While it didn't flop per se in 2000, it wasn't exactly a big hit. But thanks to meme culture, it's really taken off within the last, I'd say, 5 years or so. So seeing what character?
That's always the kind of success that makes me the most sad, when it's only successful like after the fact. Like, because it's like, how much of that even like goes to the original people that created it?
Yeah.
Eartha Kitt isn't even alive anymore.
Right, she died in 2009, but she did win an Emmy for the TV show.
That does make me happy.
Good on her.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone saw Emperor's New School, but
I remember watching it as a kid. I don't remember anything about it though.
But she reprised her role as Yzma and won a daytime Emmy for that. So at least that happened.
Also, check out Snuff Out the Light. Awesome song.
Right.
That is a good song.
Kingdom of the Sun, it also has kind of that going against it, how the production team was basically screwed over mid-development, but the movie we got was still good, so...
I cannot believe this movie was decent, with that kind of story.
Yeah.
But because back in the early 2000s, it was just every animated film had to be a comedy. So it's we gotta make this Broadway style musical. We gotta turn it into a comedy because that's what the kids want. And it somehow turned out good.
Yeah.
I wish Disney would actually make more comedies like this. This is the only one of its kind, actually, for Disney.
Right. It's
That's
kind
true.
of an anomaly among the Disney canon.
The closest we have is Zootopia when it comes to humor. But even then, it's not nearly as absurd as Emperor's.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess Wreck-It Ralph kind of gets there because of the environment it's in.
I would say Aladdin and Lion King goes towards that route bit too.
Yeah, but certain elements of it. But Emperor's New Groove is the only one where that element is permeated throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
He has the genie come in halfway through, and his stuff is more spontaneity and based on the persona of Robin Williams. This one, everyone's got to be at the top of their game, and they all have, and all the main 4 characters get Cusco, Pacha, Yzma, and Kronk all get their big moments. So.
I mean, this movie is just absolute nonstop with the jokes and constantly hitting bullseyes. What it reminds me most is if an episode of Dave the Barbarian were extended to feature length.
I need to check out that show.
I gotta see more of that.
Dave the Barbarian. That's another one that Disney forgot about.
Thinking quickly, Dave constructs a homemade megaphone using only some string, a squirrel, and a megaphone.
I hear a lot of the people who worked on Animaniacs went on to work on Dave the Barbarian.
I think that really shines through.
So that sort of self-referential humor that
Right.
Yeah, or when the camera when the camera's panning out, and it just it focuses on a lizard for a really long time, and Cusco's what's going on, guys? Why are we focusing on the lizard?
Yeah. I love those self-aware camera jokes. Zooming for dramatic effect, but it's too close. I don't think that happens in this movie, but something like that to that effect.
We get something similar to that when Kronk is piecing together who Cusco was in the diner. Remember?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's all coming together.
It's all coming together. Oh, were you going to mention, Jackson, the beginning of Aladdin?
Yeah, the guy when the peddler goes, please come closer. Too close, a little too close.
Social distancing, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, though, even though this is a nonstop comedy, it still manages to have one of the best character arcs in Disney films in the form of Cusco, because he goes from essentially being the villain at the beginning to being being completely redeemed, yet still maintaining his fun-loving aspect. And
he's the evil developer before it was a thing.
Yeah.
He just wanted to build a pool right there and gentrify town.
Oh, yeah, I guess this was technically a gentrification message.
Oh yeah.
When you look into it.
Yeah.
And they came to a compromise, and the way that he came about it felt very in character for him, because he wasn't just I was wrong, I'm sorry. And it's you know what, you were wrong, it doesn't actually sing, so I think I better find someplace else.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
and of course, all that comes down to the amazing voice performances and character animation.
Oh, no doubt. I mean,
all these actors do great job.
Yeah, Patrick Warburton as Kronk. It's hard to imagine him as any other character except maybe Joe Swanson.
Yeah, I
Right.
think Joe is like the most different character Patrick Warburton's ever played,
Right.
like compared to the
Like,
rest.
yeah, Patrick Warburton's, for whatever reason, plays characters with very pronounced chins.
I mean, yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't played the Crimson Chin.
Yeah. I mean, I think my favorite scene involving Kronk is when he gets mistaken for the chef at the diner, and when he's getting all these orders, he just rolls with it because like he can't leave these
'Cause that's
people
just
hungry.
who he is.
Like he's the bumbling doofus with the heart of gold.
And he's also a savant in the kitchen.
Exactly.
And that's why he felt so offended when Yzma said that she didn't like his broccoli puffs.
I think it was
Poor guy.
spinach. I never liked your spinach puffs. Never.
We always talk about the 4 main voice actors, but when I rewatched this film, I was surprised when I heard Pacha's wife speak, because I was like, I know that voice somewhere. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Bojack's mother.
Wendy Malick.
Yeah. And she also voices Ida the Witch from The Owl House, which is another
yeah.
good Disney show.
Also,
I need
she's
to watch that show.
she's also beautiful, gorgeous from Jimmy Neutron.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who that character is.
Jet Fusion's arch nemesis.
I remember as a kid, I was always in love with Wendy Malick's voice.
Yeah. I think she also voiced a character on Fillmore. You guys remember that show?
Oh yeah.
Dude, she's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, even though she's not in much of this movie, I did enjoy that one scene where it's like they're trying to get away and they have to like distract Yzma and Kronk until like just like the kids are just like somehow like always ahead of Yzma and like manage to get her these like feathers and oil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just like impossibly fast.
And the comedic timing in this movie is impeccable.
Yeah, but I think I ended up voting for Mulan just for sympathy points and because of the promotion from the remake.
Yeah, I ended up voting for Mulan too, just because I do think it is a legitimately better movie than Emperor's New Groove. No disrespect to Emperor's New Groove, but the thing about Mulan is that it does take more chances and goes into some riskier areas. And the fact that it does and it pays off, I think that's what gives it the edge. Because nothing wrong with straight comedies. I love my straight comedies. But Mulan aims high and hits it. Whereas Emperor's New Groove seems pretty content to just stay on the comedic path. And if that's your thing, then Emperor's New Groove is going to give you the greatest time ever.
I think for me, I have to go with the Emperor's New Groove because, like, I love Mulan. I love Mulan to death. Like, I love the movie. I love the humor. I love the drama. I especially love Mushu. But the film that, like, gets more with me, it's the Emperor's New Groove because I feel more of an attachment to that film.
And that's totally fair.
And the funny thing is, like, whenever it's somebody's birthday, like, whenever I get the chance, I have to send someone that clip of the Emperor's New Groove, the happy birthday scene, because it's such a freaking funny scene.
Yeah, you sent me that.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I think you sent me that too, but yeah, it's really funny. Again, both these films are the one good at what they do, but I ended up siding a little bit more for Mulan because again of what it does. They always go on about the big four of the Renaissance, but I think Mulan might be nudging up there.
Right.
Trying to get a spot on that podium. The big four were often said to be Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King. I think Mulan's getting there.
I think so too. And with the extra pushback that the remake is getting, it really is making people appreciate what the 1998 film really does right.
Right. I almost said first four, but you gotta remember Rescuers Down Under came between Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast.
I know.
Not.
I think Mulan, I agree with you all that Mulan is a fantastic movie, and I'm so happy that this remake was made and gave people a greater appreciation for the original movie.
Yeah,
but
silver linings.
That being said, I'm gonna have to side with Jackson on this one. I'm too much. Emperor's New Groove just gels so much with my sense of humor, and I love I love how different it is from all other Disney films.
Right.
And also, when I rewatched Mulan, I kind of forgot how much of the conflict and stuff is started like by Mushu. Like Mushu like gets Mulan into a lot of shit. Like he's he's the reason that she gets like into a fight on the first day. Like he's the reason that their cover was blown when they were in the mountains. Like he's the only reason that they even went to that battlefield to begin with, because he wanted her to fight in the war. I kind of forgot like how much damage he does.
Yeah, I mean,
I still love him though, but like I had to reevaluate that.
Yeah, Mushu, buddy, and he doesn't detract from the actual serious stuff of the movie. Like when stuff gets real, he doesn't sort of interfere with that.
yeah.
Hey, at least
So I was just gonna say I'm very appreciative that he didn't like make jokes during the big whiplash scene.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
that would have
He was
ruined
saving that
everything.
he was saving that for Mulan too.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, if I had problems with the first Mulan, you better believe I had problems with the second one.
Yeah.
And also, I appreciate how they didn't just make Mushu another genie. He's his own thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have magical powers, but he is like apparently indestructible because he got blown up on the side of a mountain, but it was totally fine.
Yeah. I think what it comes down to is both of these movies, they give me like similar entertainment values as a whole, albeit for different reasons. But I think because Mulan takes more risks and it pays off more, that's what gives it the edge for me. But I think the quintessential Disney movie would be a movie that manages to do drama as well as Mulan while doing comedy as well as Emperor's New Groove. Oh, hi, Zootopia. I didn't see you there.
Aww. Don't make me feel.
It is what it is.
I think you only gave out 4 S rankings across the canon. It was Mulan, Tarzan, Zootopia, and I think Tangled you bumped up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And Tangled got eliminated really early.
But it was to Zootopia.
By Zootopia, so
Feelings.
yeah.
So S versus S. Yeah.
It was like number 1 versus number 4. So
What are you gonna do?
I mean, Zootopia still has that victory margin, but I think upon reevaluation, the margin might be a little slimmer now because I'm still trying to determine whether it'll hold up outside of the current political climate. I mean, I saw it before everything went to shit, and I loved it like almost as much as I do now. So I think I'll stand by my opinion.
I still think I probably would have liked that movie, like had it not been, as socially, relevant.
Right.
But here's the thing: I want it to remain relevant, but at the same time, I really, really don't want it to be relevant anymore.
Yeah.
I think the characters and the interactions will make it hold up a little longer.
Yeah, and not to mention it's just really funny. And
we'll look back at
comedy's timeless mostly.
We can look back on it at a time like, oh yeah, we used to do that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
when I say comedy's timeless, I mean making people laugh is timeless.
Absolutely, without question.
Yeah. So yeah, it seems like we're kind of split on Emperor's New Groove versus Mulan.
I feel like that's going to be most of these matchups, considering it's the
think so.
Elite Eight.
Oh
Elite
yeah.
Eight is the most competitive weekend in March Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Mason versus UConn in 06. That's the best basketball game I've ever seen. It was Elite Eight.
Yeah. Mason won that one, right?
Yep, in overtime.
Wow.
That's what makes these matches so hard, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to decide, like, do I prefer apples or oranges? Apples. I actually don't like oranges.
Really? I
My
love.
brother, but in reverse. I told him, you can't compare apples to oranges like that. And he's like, of course not. Everyone knows oranges taste better.
Yeah. For me, certain apples taste better than oranges. Like, I'm not a fan of Braeburn apples, but I love Honeycrisp apples.
I like Honeycrisp, Red Delicious, and Granny Smith. I like that little tang.
Yeah.
Oh my god, every single character really is named after an apple. I can't believe how blind I was.
Yeah. Anyway, but
And then Applejack is named after an alcoholic beverage.
I always
true.
thought she was named after cereal.
And also, if you mix whiskey with apple juice, it's called an Applejack.
Wow.
Wow, that is insane.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah. I think we can all agree, though, oranges are better than grapefruits.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't like either, but yeah.
Yeah, I literally cannot
unless
eat
one of them talks.
I literally can't eat a grapefruit unless I like cover it with sugar.
That doesn't sound healthy.
Oh, it's not, and that's why I don't eat grapefruits.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to Class B. I'm sure this matchup won't be any more difficult. Fantasia versus Cinderella. Oh, yeah, Fantasia versus Cinderella.
Why do you do this to me?
Don't blame me, blame the public.
Again, this is kind of another one where it's pretty much the pinnacle. It's the movie that built Disney Empire versus arguably the most critically acclaimed. So
I mean, I feel like though that's where the comparisons really end, because when you get down to it, these are vastly different movies in tone, in style, in just about every aspect.
These movies aren't even that high on my rankings.
Yeah,
it's still a hard choice.
Yeah, Cinderella actually is very high on my ranking. I might have to give that one an S, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Well, still looking at your top 10, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a shame. Like, I really love Fantasia. I think that's a fantastic movie. I feel bad, however, that I'm always voting against it, because as much as I love Fantasia, Cinderella is like in my top 10 favorites.
Yeah, same. I revisited it, and it holds up better than I imagined. I think of the original three princesses, Cinderella is probably my favorite because she has a good character. She's got a good heart. She's got a lot of traits that you can look up to.
She has more than 1/3 worth of screen time.
Yeah, and she's got the greatest support system behind her. Let's not forget. Were it not for the mice and the godmother, she'd still be in hot shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, she tries her best to get through it all, and that's what makes us relate to her and like her. Because even though she's trying to be optimistic, we can still see she's suffering. She's going through heck.
The only reason
she gets herself through the situations in the hopes that one day she'll have a chance for something better. And as soon as that chance comes, she takes it. She doesn't resign herself to what could be seen as the inevitable. She's actually very proactive. And anyone who says that she's not, and she just waits around for a man, can just shut up forever. Please.
She waits around for her. She waits around for her mice.
Yeah.
But no, the only reason she has that supporting cast in the first place is because of her kindness and willing to, hold on to hope. Because she's so nice to all the animals, and Fairy Godmother took notice of that, and
kindness begets kindness.
Yeah.
And that's part of why I didn't like the remake so much, because it sacrificed that development and that kindness for other varieties, for other parts of the story. You see, okay, fine, meeting the prince before the ball, that's okay, that's good. But you cut out the mice and a lot of the scenes of her working and developing those friendships. That's kind of at the expense of her character. So she just comes off like a flat block of woods, and it doesn't feel like you connect with her as much.
Right, so and if you ask me, that's a trade-off that's not worth it. Real talk, do we really need to know that much about the prince? It's Cinderella's story.
Right, and again, also the remake, the climax, they only find her by luck. They just hear her singing, and that's it. In the 1950 version, she's fighting for it. There's suspense, there's tension, because the mice are racing for her with the key. You're really feeling something there.
That's the thing about some Disney movies where they have a big supporting cast, because Mulan is kind of similar in that the main characters, while they are beloved and we love them, a lot of their best moments come from how they interact with the much more eccentric and zany supporting cast.
And
cause like seeing how they play off of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like my thing with Sailor Moon. I kind of felt like the lead character was the least interesting part of the story because her supporting cast, the other Senshi, were much more interesting and dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
It was Cinderella, like with the remake. Like I watched Cinderella, like all the Cinderella films, and its remake recently, and the first one's with Star Giant, and like the first film still holds up phenomenally. Like, and when I saw the remake, it just felt completely soulless. Like it felt empty.
Like that's what happens when you take away that integral supporting cast.
And like
speak of the devil.
I start
I just want to know what movie you guys talk about real quick. That's all.
Cinderella and Fantasia.
Can I give my opinion?
Yeah.
Sure, you can go ahead.
Yeah, we're on Fantasia versus Cinderella.
I'll talk about Cinderella because I know about that one the most. I choose before I continue. I choose Cinderella over Fantasia.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say I love the first one, and it's one of the very first few animations I've ever seen. Probably the second animation I've ever seen. Only second behind Snow White, the first animation I've ever seen. Yeah, and I saw its sequels like recently with Yellow Jack's 10 because I just wanted to see it for fun. And importantly, the first one still holds up even 70 years later, or I guess 20 years later, or
No, it's 70.
22 years.
2020 minus 1950 is 70.
Mm-hmm.
I first saw it in 1998. But anywho, it still holds up. I really love the film. I love how the message of the movie is for Cinderella to help get out of her abusive household, and all she wants to do is just have a nice time. And boom, she has a nice time, and she just ends up finding the prince, like out of coincidence. She wasn't even trying to find the prince. Oh, and I love the king, how he just wants to have grandkids, and I love how he's gonna cut the
Duke.
The Duke, yeah, thank you, the Duke. Sir, what's your name? Sir, she got away. Sir, she got away. What's it all about? What?
That's a Chris Griffin moment right there.
I also love how right before that, the Duke was trying to tell a story, and he was telling it to a statue. It's like, all right, sir, I just wanted to let you know that she got away. That is all. Okay, for real now. No.
That's a classic bit.
People always say that Lady Tremaine is the scariest character, but man, the king, when he finds out that Cinderella got away, he's up there.
Yeah.
There's a great line where the Duke's like, "But sir, this shoe could belong to any number of girls."
That's his problem.
Yeah. that was his mistake.
Yeah, and then the third one that follows up on that saying, "You think that there would be only one girl with a size 4 or something like that?"
And he's like, "Well, she didn't really give me a whole lot to go off of, Dad."
Yeah, but I'm also that kind of leads to my theory that the fairy godmother set it up.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe it's some sort of like a batsuit deal where it's like if anybody else tries to put it on, they get electrocuted?
Maybe,
or like Thor's hammer, where no one can pick it up except him.
And unless you're worthy, like eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also say glass slippers are impractical, but I think I saw a BuzzFeed video or something where they make glass jogging shoes or something.
Really?
So
Dang.
Wow.
Just don't go on too rocky roads.
Yeah. Man. Glass slipper. That would have been a perfect thing for Mythbusters to tackle.
Yeah, apparently in the original translation of the French version, it's fur, because the word for fur and the word for glass are like one letter off.
Really?
Did we ever talk about the Cinderella joke from My Little Pony?
Oh,
From
yeah.
Best Night Ever?
Yeah, when Rarity's loses her slipper and Piggy's like, "Hey, look! You lost your
Now your prince is sure to come!"
No! And then she breaks it.
Yeah. Good thing horse hooves are really strong. That would have hurt.
Yeah, nobody needs to wear shoes in that universe. I don't get it. But I still...
Those exist.
Yeah. I'll still play devil's advocate when it comes to Cinderella. Like, I still feel like when it comes to like specifically just the mouse scenes and whenever they're with Lucifer. It just it could be because I watched so much Tom and Jerry. It feels like not as impactful, but it's like I get it. It's Disney. You're not going to be able to do violence as crazy as Tom and Jerry would, because you still got to like keep it for kids. But that's still just kind of me.
Yeah, they had Tom.
Actually, Tom and Jerry was really aimed for adults.
Yeah, I saw someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom and Jerry in Cinderella, and yet it somehow still works better than Tom and Jerry and Willy Wonka.
Seriously, like how has that not been made yet? Oh wait, no, Warner Brothers. But Cinderella's public domain, isn't it?
Yeah, it's public domain. They just have like the Rodgers and Hammerstein version, because I think WB would own those rights.
Yeah. Come on, WB, get on it. You're already making a live-action Tom and Jerry movie.
How would that work?
For real?
It's gonna be Who Framed Roger Rabbit style.
Okay.
Oh, that'd actually be pretty cool.
I'm actually kind of curious about what it's gonna look like.
Maybe this could be like Roger Rabbit. Could open new doors for something.
Please be good.
Yeah.
Please. That's all I ask. Don't be another musical. Don't let them talk.
To each other.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry had a few talking gags, but
you guys, don't you understand? We've got to have money.
Don't let it be voiced by Richard Kind.
Ching.
Richard Kind.
I like him, but his voice doesn't work for Tom.
It worked for Bing Bong, but not for Tom.
Exact. And also Hopper's brother.
Oh yeah, Molt.
Yeah, I forgot. Yes.
Yeah. And the birds eat the grasshoppers. Hey, like the one that almost ate you the other day, remember?
Yeah.
I love Molt.
He's an underrated character.
Yeah.
Like everybody loves Bing Bong, but Molt is honestly my favorite character voiced by Richard Kind.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we haven't talked about Fantasia at all, have we?
Yeah.
No.
It's
I think
cool. It's neat.
It's kind of best if I try to break it down bit by bit, because there's 8 segments. It's like 8 movements in a sweep.
Right.
Okay, Wes, yes, please, by all means, take the floor, because you probably have the most...
I did a 6,000 word text review on it in 2018, and you bet your sweet bippy I know this.
Yeah,
Bet your
you
sweet
have the most
bippity boppity
authority
boo.
on this, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah. But it has like a suite, so it's trying to emulate the concert experience. Toccata and fugue is like when you zone out, what are you gonna see represent the music? Though I do think Toccata and fugue needs a better name than just its descriptor. I call it Nemo's theme because of its use in another Disney movie, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Huh.
But other than that, that's kind of the lead off, and it gets you up the mood. Then they try to do subversion with the Nutcracker suite minus the Nutcracker, but there's still fairies and there's still the Jances, so it kind of makes sense. But I like how they thematically tie it to the changing of the seasons, so it can still work in context, and the waltz with the flowers scene still kind of feels very Christmassy because it's about the snow. And then after that's the Sorcerer's Apprentice. The whole film was made based around that segment, by the way. Probably mentions why it stands out and why it was recycled. Echo.
Oh, it's still there.
But
Yoda, that's yeah.
yeah, they had that, and it's pretty well timed, and it coordinates to it. And it was based on a poem by Goethe. It's a cautionary tale about getting carried away with stuff, and it sticks to the poem very well, and it keeps a faithful adaptation. And it took me forever to realize Yen Sid was Disney spelled backwards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Jeez.
the wizard, by the way.
Man, that's how I felt when I went into the town of Nilbog and didn't realize it was backwards for Goblin.
Right. But there's that, and then there's the Rite of Spring, which is a little outdated. I consider this to be the weakest of the segments, but still kind of rocks. I'm just not really a big fan of Stravinsky, so this kind of didn't go with me. I've seen the performance of the ballet, Rite of Spring. They actually cut out the finale segment, but apparently would have had something to do with prehistoric man, but they didn't go there. Although I do like how the piece in the segment ends on the same chords it began, that kind of brings it full circle. Then after that comes, Pastoral Symphony. It's based in Greece rather than Germany, and it's kind of funny to see the Pegasi in this, knowing what happens with My Little Pony, and also a little later. I think it's kind of a nice touch, even if they get some of the names wrong. It's a bold experiment, but overall kind of underwhelming in parts. What came out? I'll pull up the list here. Fantasia.
Did you say Sorcerer's Apprentice?
That was the third one.
That was number 3.
And Pastoral's number 6, right?
Yeah, Pastoral's Beethoven's 6, but it's
Pastoral's number 5.
But it's Beethoven's 6, segment 5.
There we go.
And the reason it's so long is because they play most of the piece in the thing.
Yeah.
Then after that's the Dance of the Hours, which is the most cartoony segment. It's basically a silly symphony translated. But I wonder how many people were even aware of the Dance of the Hours beforehand. But it still matches the structure, and at least the piece is short. And then we have the big one, the double whammy, the Night on Bald Mountain. How did this ever get past the Hays Code?
That is a very good question. And
Disney shows full frontal nudity.
Fun fact: I'm in my college's football band, and every time that there's a penalty called, we play a little sting from Night on Bald Mountain. So it's like ba 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 ba.
This was conditioned for a ballet, and they try to match that. And they juxtapose the witches part with the holy part of Ave Maria. I guess they probably offended enough people to try and bring back the religious right or something with the Ave Maria segment. They go better together than I thought, because the Rise of the Sun segues nicely into the holiness and downbeat of the Ave Maria. It's pretty nice. But overall, Fantasia's a movie that's good, but kind of hard to appreciate or get into. I think I ended up going with Cinderella out of attachment and just accessibility. I wonder how the voters will treat that. But Fantasia, as what it offers, is just a true art film and something which is not really for casual viewing, but those who appreciate it will really like it. And the voters seem to have agreed because it advanced to the Elite Eight. So, yeah.
There we go. I mean, that's the thing. The fact that Fantasia is very much an art movie, that's going to have an influence on the voters, just based on what kind of mindset they have, whether they prefer, the more artistic, ambitious creations, or the ones that tell, more of a straight story, but tell it so well. And I'm in that last.
That missed the cut that would have been interesting to see, like Ride of the Valkyries, Dance Macabre, the Shostakovich dance. But they go into a lot about what could have been, and I would have liked to have seen some of those, at least in isolation.
Well, about Cinderella, like, as much as I love Fantasia, like, I feel like I have to go with Cinderella because it connects more with me, especially, like, throughout my life, too. Like, I felt with hardships similar to Cinderella, felt like I wanted to break down, but I still felt like I got through it similar to her.
I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so anyway, Fantasia, I think we could all agree, art will never go out of style. That goes without saying. However, when that being said, I appreciate it when a story is able to not go out of style either. So I'm probably going to go with Cinderella for that reason.
For as much as I ragged on Rite of Spring for the whole tournament, I think it could work as an artistic interpretation of natural history, is what It's sort of a what was a fantasy rather than reality, kind of like Primal.
Mm-hmm. Carrick, I'll never forget when we changed your mind on this movie compared to Frozen.
Yeah, it's that was my character arc. It was like one of the most defining moments of the entire podcast.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It was so I still like don't think Cinderella is a perfect movie, but I still really should not have voted for Frozen over Cinderella.
Well, it didn't affect the outcome, so we'll give
Sometimes
you a pass.
it's luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all just about how the film got seeded and who it matched up against.
Exactly.
Like I wouldn't necessarily put Cinderella in the final four myself. That being said, I wouldn't put Frozen in the top 16 or the top 32 even.
Yeah.
I mean, top 32 I would. But
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to be like, I'm just trying to be mean.
Number,
Yeah,
you gotta
you're being
account
that guy.
for what was below that. So, yeah.
There are a lot of Disney movies.
indeed.
Frozen. Yeah, with Frozen as a film, like I really liked, but I feel like it could have been fixed. But that's why I even put Anna and Elsa in Animation Acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so we all seem to be in agreement that we're all voting for Cinderella.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I still think Princess and the Frog should have beat Fantasia. I'm just putting that out there.
Cinderella
man.
for the win.
Yeah.
Indeed. Here's hoping for the best. All right, let's move on to Class C. Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh versus Aladdin.
Oh, sadistic choice.
Man.
You know what? This is gonna be like, I feel like Winnie the Pooh's like true test of can nostalgia really beat out pure quality.
Well,
Yeah.
again, never underestimate the power of the feels. But the thing is, both these movies have feels.
That's what
That's
makes
true.
it such a weird matchup. Because Great Mouse Detective, I can't really think of any moments where it's like, oh, it hit me in the feels. But Aladdin has tons of that, and so does Winnie the Pooh.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Aladdin has sort of like the beginning and the freeing the genie. Those parts are always really tough on me. And also the cut song, Proud of Your Boy. That's good. That one's a good one. I can see why it was cut, but that's a feels journey too.
Yeah, I mean,
I felt like that was like a bit too hardcore even
Yeah.
for me.
I think honestly what gives it the edge for Winnie the Pooh for me is that both movies definitely have their moments that hit you in the feels. But the fact that Winnie the Pooh is able to do it with such a simple story and a simple concept and simple characters, it's doing so much with so little. And I think that's what elevates it to such a great movie beyond just nostalgia.
I absolutely agree. Because Winnie the Pooh is the most successful franchise Disney has made for good reason. It's because these characters are so lovable and so timeless, like, and universal. No matter where you come from, we can all understand these characters and their archetypes and how they interact with each other. And you just look at them. All you have to do is look at a still, and you know exactly what their character is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, Pooh is another one that benefited from meme culture.
Exactly. Although it's kind of hard to say which of these films like are memed more, because it's like Winnie the Pooh is a big franchise, but Aladdin also has Genie and parts of Gilbert Gottfried, I feel too.
Yeah, and Genie's just a fountain of memes.
Yeah.
You guys know that you guys ever hear the story about Aladdin's voice actor?
Scott Winder, what happened to him?
Scott, when he auditioned for Aladdin and they liked his audition, they were like, hey, can you sing? And he said, yeah, I could sing. So I was like, okay, you got the part. And then when it came time for recording, he was like, I lied, I can't actually sing. So they had to get a singing voice for him.
Wow.
A whole new world. My favorite version is the original cast. So
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, there's a version where he sings it?
No, wait, no. They had a double. That's right. It's like Martin Dixon for West Side Story. That's kind of similar, actually, going back to Class B with Cinderella. Eileen Woods, her friend sent in a demo tape, apparently without her knowledge, and she got the role.
Wow.
Really?
That's cool.
You know, on the subject of voice actors, like with Robin Williams, like, do you guys know of the controversy, like, that went on behind the scenes of Aladdin with Robin Williams?
Oh, yeah. Without bringing it up.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about it so much. I feel now's a good time to bring it up. I only want to be in 25% of the promotional material. Okay, we will put you in literally 25% of the poster.
Yeah,
like taking up the entire top half of it.
Like, and this seemed up Robin Williams for a while. Like, it wasn't until Disney themselves made a public apology. Like, he didn't do the Return to Jafar or the TV show that came after, but he did come back for the King of Thieves and a couple other projects.
Yeah, was he in House of Mouse?
No, apparently I heard that Disney pissed him off again due to like something that had to do with Bicentennial Man or Chris Columbus, and he didn't come back for other stuff. But here's a question I have for all you guys.
Okay.
You guys all ready for this?
Yes.
You guys know of like Cliff Edwards as Jiminy Cricket and James Woods as Hayes. Like, these were big name celebrities, yet they always came back to voice their characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If Disney did not piss off Robin Williams, do you guys think that Robin Williams would have came back to voice a genie at like any time, whether it be like as some like just like House of Mouse or Kingdom Hearts or even the TV show of Aladdin?
Oh,
do you think he would have? Do you think he would have like been like as much of an involved with the genie as he could have been?
Oh, totally.
I think he'd have come back for at least one of those roles.
I don't think he would have come back for the smaller stuff. Like, because here's the thing. Like, Disney has a lot of money, but they don't have that much money. And it's like, Gilbert Gottfried, like, he just enjoyed playing Iago that much. Same goes for James Woods. I just can't see Robin Williams being in something like Kingdom Hearts or House of Mouse.
I think Alan Young is Scrooge also. He just had dedication to the part.
Yeah.
Well, guys know these things like this came out in the late 90s. It's just it aired on one Saturday morning at ABC. It's a thing called Great Minds Think for Themselves. These are these short little bumpers that went into the history of American figures, and Robin Williams voiced a genie there.
Huh.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing something that like he agreed to only play a genie as long as it was just an educational stuff, right?
Yeah, he was also in a Math Quest of the line. I think he was. That was his last performance as a genie.
I find that to be a very odd stipulation.
Yeah.
Like, I will only play him in things that people will never watch.
But then again, Robin Williams does make a better Robin Williams than Homer Simpson trying to play Robin Williams.
I try to defend Dan Castellaneta a bit, but I agree. Like, he's not up to the levels as Robin Williams.
He's trying his best.
Poor animators must have had so many cramps trying to keep up with Robin.
Like, cut some slack.
Yeah. So, if people were asking me, like, I love Winnie the Pooh, like, I love the many inventions of Winnie the Pooh, the franchise holds a huge, huge place in my heart, but the same goes for Aladdin. At the same time, I have to go with Aladdin as like, my pick, because as much as I love Winnie the Pooh, like, Aladdin, like, also influenced me much in the history of animation. Well, Winnie the Pooh is, like, my comfort place to go to. Like, whenever in a sad place or in a bad place, Winnie the Pooh is something I always go to like cheer me up, whether it be like the TV show or even some of the other movies like Pooh's Grand Adventure or the Tigger movie.
Right. Yeah. I feel and again, Pooh just had a good franchise. He didn't lose his dignity. He kept things going pretty well, and I actually did consider the Tigger movie to be an honorary canon.
Really?
I did too.
Yeah, because of just the place it holds within both the Disney canon and the Pooh canon, for how it added this dynamic to a comedic character. And oftentimes when you give the comedic character the spotlight, it doesn't really work. But with Tigger, they were able to add some nuance and explore what if he is the only one. That's pretty shocking.
Cars 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Pooh, it's surprising how such a simple franchise can have such deep lore.
Here's the thing, when it comes to that, even though Winnie the Pooh, like as a movie, it lent itself like perfectly to branching off to other things like cartoons and video games and toys. Like those characters lent themselves perfectly to that. However, while Aladdin didn't do the same thing, I felt that its story was perfect. Like when you perfectly encapsulated like as a movie, just like comparing these two just like as movies specifically together, as opposed to just like everything surrounding it. While Winnie the Pooh is a stronger franchise without question, I feel Aladdin, when it focuses a bit more on the movie, and because it was made for that, which is why I think my pick will probably be Aladdin.
Yeah. So you prefer Aladdin the movie over Winnie the Pooh the movie?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Although, but with that being said, Winnie the Pooh, like as a franchise, is so damn important to me, and I don't know where I'd be without it.
I don't even think A.A. Milne put that much detail into the Pooh backstory or treated it with as much care and meticulous.
Didn't he get tired of Winnie the Pooh and that he resented being famous for it or something like that?
Oh wow, is that true?
His son, the real Christopher Robin, hated it.
Oh, okay.
See, I can kind of understand stories like that where it's like you're mad because you're old
and ran with them, but the real Christopher Robin always hated the stigma. Oh, if he had only lived to have seen Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Well, because I get that idea of just like only being known for one thing and that's all anybody will ever talk about. Because there's that famous story of Alec Guinness when like a little kid comes up to him and tries to get an autograph because he played Obi-Wan.
Star Wars 27 times, but then Alec Guinness agreed to sign only on the condition that he never watch it again.
Yeah. He basically told him that Star Wars was pointless.
I think it was Alec Guinness's idea to kill off Obi-Wan in the first place.
Oh, really? Well, kill off in the, story sense. He's still, like, in the other movies.
Yeah.
Like, well, with the villains, like, what do you guys think of the main villain of Aladdin, Jafar?
Oh,
that guy is awesome.
Well,
he's honestly one of my favorites.
Jafar and Iago have by far one of the best villain dynamics. I think that's something that I've touched upon before, and it goes without saying that Jafar, while he is the big bad, he is menacing and like stoic at first. He has Iago to play off of.
Still has these great one-liners and comics.
Yeah, so once he actually gets that power, that's when his like true colors are revealed.
Like he becomes a total man.
And he's like spouting off all those puns while fighting Aladdin.
Yeah, and he's one of the few Disney villains, and the only Renaissance villain besides Radcliffe and debatably Hades, who does not die.
But I always found that to be a clever twist. Like the way he gets more power is ultimately his defeat.
Yeah, exactly. I love that
trickery.
It's one of the coolest climaxes because they solve the problem like with cleverness as opposed to brute force, which is a very in-character thing for someone like Aladdin.
Right. I mean, he used his cunning to get out of the cave without actually using one of his wishes.
Yeah. And like he used his cunning his whole life to survive on the streets.
Exactly.
Like Jafar to me was like always like a quintessential way to do a great villain because he was one of the first villains I've seen. He terrified me. I even thought he was funny. There's a reason he's the main villain in my animation age stories. Like he's that much of an important character to me. Any way to do like a great villain, go to someone like Jafar. Because
I sort of understand when some people are like, he's a bit too stoic, like during the beginning. But like to that, I say, he's got his character dynamic with Iago, so you got to have them be polar opposites in order for that to work.
Exactly, and not to mention he is technically a public official, so he's got that image to maintain.
Yeah. I especially love how like as soon as Jafar and Yago are off stream from the Sultan, they go right back to themselves. Jafar rolls his eyes as Yago spits out his crackers.
Exactly.
That's always one of my favorite bits of animation from them.
And then he's like, and then I'm gonna put the crackers in his mouth.
Yeah, I love how devoted Yago wasn't doing that, and Jafar was totally okay with him doing that.
And then he did. Like they totally called back to that, like when they were taking over.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he does he die in the sequel? I think he dies in the sequel.
Should we spoil? Because I actually really like the Return of Jafar.
I already spoiled it, so go ahead. It's like, should we spoil it? Yes. Okay.
Like, should we spoil that Mufasa dies in The Lion King? Nah.
What?
Dude, why would you do
What? What? Say it ain't so. Also, Iago's a good guy now.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yago's actually one of my favorite characters to like turn over a new leaf.
And
still,
we got Gilbert Gottfried to sing twice.
You guys remember the Jello Apocalypse video? Let's give Iago 2 songs.
and then Gilbert Gottfried made a cameo at BronyCon and sang "This Day Aria."
Oh God, really?
Like, I'm saying, like, people say, like, I actually don't like A Carolyn Wedding, but I'll tell you this, Gilbert Gottfried does the best cover of that song you'll ever get.
I love this man's voice so much. There was a recent Family Guy bit where Stewie imagines what Brian hears when he blows a dog whistle, and it's
Dog whistle! Where are you, dog?
Holy crap, that was good.
Is that from a recent episode?
Season 17, I think.
Wow, you got. I stopped watching a while ago, but it sounds like season 17 is pretty funny.
It's got its moments. I'm not gonna lie.
Cool. I just remember his like very extremely random cameo when they were like in Texas, and he just like for no reason at all, he was a horse, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, Gilbert Gottfried!" It's like,
Victor Barnyard did something similar where he just turns out to be a horse
for no reason, and like that's what makes it funny.
So horses and birds, though, that's his forte.
Yeah,
because he played the bird on Cyber Chase too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude! Like Gilbert Cyber Chase was a very big. That was one of the shows I watched a ton as a kid because PBS was big for me. And
taught me mathematics. My dad takes credit for that. He worked there. So.
Really?
Complex mathematics without realizing it.
What is that?
Cyber Chase taught me complex mathematics.
Oh. Yeah. Wow.
That you would actually use.
Exactly.
Yeah, Cyber Chase. Like, yeah, I heard that Christopher Lloyd was also on the show. He was a hacker.
He's hacker. Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd. That guy's in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in A Million Ways to Die in the West for no reason.
He's Disney though. I'm trying to think.
So Gilbert Gottfried is really great as Iago, and Jonathan Freeman I feel is really, really good too. And I really wish that he had more songs in this because the Prince Ali reprise is so dang like maniacal and just an awesome reveal of how like insane Jafar truly is, and that high pitch he reaches and the evil laugh, just like, my gosh, I want to see more stuff with Jonathan Freeman.
Yeah, like Joker, I love you, but Jafar easily has my favorite villain laugh.
Like Mark Hamill, like he gets close, but Jonathan Freeman, man.
Hey, it turns out Christopher Lloyd was in a Disney movie. He was Judge Doom in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh
yeah. The obvious. I forgot. I can't believe I forgot.
Do the canon. When we do a bonus episode, we'll talk Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, sure, why not?
I'll make a note of that.
No, Tarek, you and me actually did a whole journal entry on the songs Jafar was originally going to sing for Aladdin.
Yeah,
he gets a sequel. I kind of like his song. I kind of like You're Only Second Rate.
That is a good song. That is a really good song.
I am a little I'm not sure. Your Only Second Rate is a good song, but I'm a little not so sure about it anymore because like it ended up becoming like a very like big part of his character in the remake. Like people telling him that you're second best, and like that's what pisses him off.
But I mean, how many
like you
lines you were able to get out of Rate?
Oh yeah.
That's some Lin-Manuel Miranda quality lyricism right there.
Like some guy literally says that at least you'll be second best, and he just fucking kills him.
Yeah.
So weird.
Oh
Anyway.
man, you know the more we talk about this, the more I appreciate Aladdin.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
but your vote still goes to Winnie the Pooh, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I feel like I want to talk about Princess Jasmine too.
We haven't talked about Princess Jasmine, have we?
That's true.
Princess Jasmine, like to me, she was my biggest cartoon crush as a little kid.
Dude, oh my gosh. When I was a kid, just like that scene where she is like tricking Jafar and like trying to be, you know, like sultry and stuff, like I was feeling stuff for the first time and I didn't know what it was.
another good moment to get past the censors.
Yeah.
like strip and they dude, like there are two French kisses in this movie. One's with Jafar and the other's with Aladdin.
And also, I say this to Jafar. Jafar, never call Jasmine Pussycat. Just don't.
Oh.
my gosh.
Oh, now I'm uncomfortable.
But Jasmine, she is a great character, and nobody ever talks about her because people only talk about Genie and the music.
Yeah.
Like Jasmine, like I love her voice by Linda Larkin. I wish Linda Larkin had more voice threads like Jonathan Freeman because she has such a pretty voice.
It's funny too because apparently she was told to make her voice deeper, like her voice was too high, like her normal voice.
Oh, I don't mind. Just her voice in general. It's just pleasant to listen to. Like,
And because it makes the remake even more baffling. Like they felt the need to make her like a more like independent character. When it's like she's one of the most like independent princesses there is. Like her entire story arc is about wanting to break free, but at the same time, she's not like, you know, annoying about it because
Right.
the remake as a whole just makes me angry.
A girl boss.
it's not that she just doesn't like the idea of marriage like outright. She just wants to be with someone who she would enjoy spending time with because like at the end of the day, that's what love is all about. It's somebody that you would want to go on a journey on for the rest of your life, and that's what makes A Whole New World such a powerful song, is because Aladdin provides that journey for her. And
Exactly.
that's when they really fall. That's when they truly fall for each other. But like at the same time, they managed to accomplish what the Cinderella remake tried to do in having them interact earlier, because like we see them like connect with each other like immediately, since they have such relatable conflicts, even though they come from such different backgrounds. But that's another thing I find interesting about this movie, is like even if you come from different classes, that doesn't mean that people don't still have, you know, similar problems to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So money doesn't make everything go away.
Nope.
There you go.
So yeah, Jasmine, great character. Aladdin, I think he has a fantastic character arc. Like it's one of the best like liar revealed tropes, I feel, done right.
Yeah. Especially I love how Jasmine, like, she understands why Aladdin did it. That's why, especially why I love Jasmine. She's so understanding at the same time. She's independent, but she's also understanding.
I also find it funny how like when Aladdin was like still trying to keep up the lie, it was a pretty understandable that Jasmine believed him, because it's like I sometimes I like to, you know, pretend to be a commoner, and she was like, well, why didn't you tell me? It's like, well, something like that would be pretty hard to believe, don't you think? And she's like, oh yeah, because she did the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but good, just like very good character writing. I feel both of these films have very well written characters. Just like one is designed to be like more timeless than the other, I feel, so that way it can be like across multiple medias and stuff, which is very respectable. And the other is more like for a self-contained story, which in its own right is hard to do, which is why in the end I went with Aladdin.
Yeah.
Like comparing
Okay.
these two specifically.
Yeah, I understand. All right, so want to move to Class D?
Did we agree about all of them?
Hmm?
Did we exhaust both movies? Did we go on about? Did we say all we wanted?
I
Oh my
think so.
gosh, I feel like we could probably talk about them for at least another 3 hours, but
Yeah.
But we need sleep at some point, so let's move on to Class D.
thank you.
Okay, Lion King versus Lilo and Stitch.
Oh
Uh-oh.
boy.
I didn't want to sleep tonight anyway, so this will be fine. Yoda, you want to start? This is your movie.
Yeah. Let's see. How do I start this? Oh, I know. I can't hear you, buddy. Back me up. Oh, wee. Pumbaa. Pumbaa. Oh man, like I saw the Lion King like just yesterday, and it is still my freaking favorite thing in the animation like ever. It holds like, yeah.
Nathan Lane, man, that man is just a treasure.
Yeah, like I watched all the movies. Like I love the sequels. I love Lion King 2 and Lion King 1.5, but the first one just takes me away. Just it's pretty much everything I want in a film. Like when Nick said like what Zootopia was, it has what he wants for like the perfect drama, the perfect comedy. To me, The Lion King is the film for me. It has the perfect amount of emotion, like drama, comedy, action. That's everything I could want in a film, and it's perfectly balanced in this one. Like I don't even know what to say about like The Lion King. Like I especially love how it takes advantage of every beautiful angle it has of Africa. Like anything, like Africa is like a gorgeous place, and it takes advantage, like whether it be like in the deserts, the beautiful starry colorful skies, like the elephant graveyard, especially with those green mists during Be Prepared, with the great orange, yellow, and red and purple light. Oh, it's just beautifully colored. It's one of the most, like I always felt like Aladdin, Lion King, and Pocahontas were the most colorful Disney films to come out of the Disney Renaissance.
That's when they started doing. That's when they started doing digital coloring.
Yeah, like they really took advantage of it. And let me see.
Like you notice a very stark difference between Little Mermaid and Rescuers Down Under. Like when it comes to just how they look.
Oh, they're still greatly animated, but there is a difference.
Like there's a lot more polish, is what I'm trying to say.
Something else I really liked about The Lion King is the casting of the characters. What I don't think I mentioned before is that they made the cast of the characters feel like they match with the animals. Like James Earl Jones and Jeremy Irons just do sound like big cats. Like if big cats like lions were to talk, these are the voices I imagine coming out of them. Especially with like Rowan Atkinson as Zazu, he lets out an occasional bird squawk. Like Pumbaa as Ernie Sabel's great. Whoopi Goldberg and Cheech Marin do great hyena cackles alongside Jim Cummings.
Yeah.
And even Matthew Broderick does a good job, like when he's like snarling, like in a tone where he says, "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't rip you apart." It's like that's chilling. And even Jonathan Taylor Thomas, there are times where he sounds like a real lion cub. Like that takes skill.
Yeah.
Like
I feel bad for Matthew Broderick, man. He gets so much crap, like just because he was in that bad Godzilla movie.
I love Matthew Broderick. I think he's a great actor, and especially it shows in the sequel, Lion King 2 Simba's Pride, because he does good at like being dramatic as Simba. He does a really good job at that.
Just because he was in that Godzilla movie and Inspector Gadget.
No, I gotta get out of here.
But whatever.
And like
because this is the movie that people tend to remember him for.
Yeah.
Yes.
For good reason.
And like
Ferris Bueller or something.
And the producers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I felt like I voted for Lion King 2. It's kind of a transcendent film. I do acknowledge it has some flaws and the songs are kind of hit or miss, but what it does right is pretty spectacular. The Wildebeest charge alone took 3 years to animate, and they had to make a whole new program just for that.
Really?
And it's the most important scene in the movie, and the fact so they went above and beyond with it. Hans Zimmer, man, just he's everything he touches turns to gold.
Yep.
Like, and I want to defend Star a little bit. A lot of people say that Star kind of became a prima donna in the film. I'm just like, guys, Star was kind of already a prima donna like throughout the whole movie.
Yeah,
like,
That's true.
The
Like-
whole point is that he's an awful king.
Yeah, and like I'm just gonna say, like, me and Star Giant like watched this film yesterday, and we just said like, nope, I think Star's the best Disney princess.
Could you imagine how awkward
Even
it would
better
be
than
if Scar
Cusco?
was like how awkward it would be if Scar was like actually really good at governing.
Yeah.
Like, and then like Simba comes back and he's like, everything's fine. Just like, you know, Scar is doing fine. It's like he killed my father.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But at that
Just
point,
like no
at
one
that point, he
cares.
wouldn't have even known that he. At that point, wouldn't Simba have still thought that he had killed Mufasa?
Oh yeah, he would have.
Yeah.
So it's like
that, and that like
The whole
drives,
concept is dead.
like
dude, the
that,
the
like,
tax cuts have
drives
been
his-
amazing, and healthcare is up.
Yeah, like, but here's the funny thing, like, with, during the coconut scene when they're singing that song, I always imagine in my head, like, we can hear Scar singing when Zazu starts muttering himself. If Zazu never brought Mufasa, I have a feeling that Scar probably would have sung the whole song.
Oh yeah, I guess he probably would have.
Because he was really getting into it.
No, but like it's a good thing he was interrupted. Otherwise, he would have lost his voice again.
Yeah, and they would have given it to Jim Cummings.
Yeah, if you can only blow your vocal cords out so many times before it gets old.
yeah.
Yeah, so I really love the Lion King, especially love the songs too. Like, it's hard, like, especially hard to pick which is my favorite character because they all have strong personalities and like each one gets the appropriate amount of screen time. Like, even Sarabi, like, I think has a great character despite her limited, despite the fact she doesn't have as much screen time as the other ones. She still has a great character. She's a great mother to Simba, and
Yeah.
she's a good queen when she stands up to Scar, which I always thought that was really great.
Yeah, and the moment she like gets like pimp slapped and it cuts to like Simba, they're like, oh dang, it just got real.
Oh yeah, like.
Like when you poke the lion, you get the claws.
Oh yeah. And so I love the Lion King. It's hard for me to go into Lilo and Stitch because honestly, to me, Lilo and Stitch kind of pales in comparison to the Lion King. Like
But at the same
really
time,
I really love Lilo and Stitch, but it's hard to even compare it to the Lion King to begin with. Like,
you know, it's weird. You would think that that's how most people would have been when comparing Emperor's New Groove to Beauty and the Beast, but it didn't.
yeah.
I know. Oh my
But
god.
like with Lilo and Stitch, like I still stand by them. I maybe feel like a little bitter because the trailers didn't go exactly the way I wanted. Here's the thing: imagine if you saw the Lion King 1.5, and none of the scenes you saw with Timon and Pumbaa interacting with like different scenes of the Lion King. Imagine if they didn't happen in the movie at all. That's kind of what a little bit I feel like. I know it's petty. I know it's really childish of me to do that, but it did surprise me on how it went. Like,
Well, did they have any like real commercials that showed what the movie actually was?
some of
'cause
which.
When I was a kid, I only remember those promos where like he interrupts the movies.
Yeah, like I feel like they did have some original promos, but those are the ones that everyone is gonna remember. That's probably the reason why everyone went to see it.
That being said, I do really appreciate whenever they do original animation to promote a movie because I feel like that's kind of like us going above and beyond and trying to save stuff for the theater, which is something that isn't done that often. And the only one I can think of in recent memory is Boss Baby.
Oh man.
So it's like
Sorry,
I'll give you that one, DreamWorks.
Sorry, just had Vietnam flashbacks.
Same.
Whatever.
Oh man.
They
I
make a
don't
beauty-
recall ever seeing those promos for Lilo and Stitch. Then again, I would have been like 6 years old, and I hardly remember anything when I was 6 years old that wasn't related to SpongeBob.
Yeah, fair point. That's me with SpongeBob and Dora the Explorer. I watched both of those shows.
Oh,
lot.
you poor soul.
And I was very confused, like, why are these shows on the same channel, but like they feel so different from each other? Like, I was very confused.
Yeah.
Because like SpongeBob wasn't teaching me anything.
Yeah, but Lilo and Stitch is a good message movie, a good family drama, surprisingly, and it's got some nice balance. The fact that it's the most recent film to make the Elite Eight kind of says something about its staying power as a franchise, and how it came out during a rough patch and was still able to be the biggest hit for Disney in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So points for showing up, Lilo and Stitch. You had a good run. Even if you somehow lose to Lion King, you'll be remembered for rightly making the Elite Eight, which feels right for you.
Exactly.
People,
I mean, I don't see Lilo and Stitch even standing a chance against Lion King. Although we might be surprised because it's been getting that critical reevaluation over the past few years. And I'm honestly gonna be I'm gonna be one of those people who votes for Lilo and Stitch because the more down to earth family drama just I don't know, it connects with me more. It's not something that I relate to personally, but just like on a sympathetic level, it's something that I can just gravitate to a lot more, and it gets me right in the feels, and I didn't even notice it.
Never underestimate the feels.
Exactly.
I think I need to.
It was a good.
I think I need to watch this.
It was a good 20-minute stretch of movie that was slowly tearing away at me. I didn't even realize it was happening until I was like, "Wait, what's happening to me? Why am I like this?"
Aww.
Maybe
20 minutes.
Perhaps the fact I was sleep deprived had something to do with it, but I don't know.
Was it the last 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was like right towards the end when it looked like Stitch was about to leave.
I feel like I need to watch this movie again just to like make sure which one I like.
Yeah.
Because as it stands now, like Lion King is just kind of has that sense of just like epicness to it,
grandiosity,
kind of hard to reach. Exactly.
But all the shot, like there's so many different shots and angles they shoot certain scenes from it. Even if it's just like a small shot or something, they look beautiful.
Yeah.
And like it has the story to back up those shots too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the only like technically original stories that Disney put out at the time.
Keep in mind that if Lion King wasn't around, we probably wouldn't even have Lilo and Stitch.
Right.
So
I think it had a lot of people return to Lilo and Stitch.
That being said, I am happy that Lilo and Stitch was one of the only successful films of its time, just for the fact that it was good that we got to see, more content with those characters again, because it's a very fun cast. Yeah. And I'm also impressed with how much this film had to change like last minute, because it was a lot more violent at first.
Oh yeah.
I remember also that. There was a lot of airplane scenes that they had to change too.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Like thank God the recent attack on the St. Louis Ark was a failure.
We missed. Classic.
It's good, but so my point is that much like with Emperor's New Groove, when they were faced with crunch time of like changing stuff, they still managed to come out on top at the end, which makes it even more commendable how good it was. Because like it's not just good, like we still remember it to this day, and we're talking about it right now. That speaks to how much we love these characters, like how much we love Stitch's arc of realizing the importance of Ohana, and how much it gives respect to the Polynesian culture, and which is something that people praise Moana for doing. It's like, well, we already did that like a decade ago, so.
So like, on the subject, since we're talking about Lilo and Stitch too, I want to talk about Chris Sanders, the director. Let me just say, like, it may seem like I'm not a fan of like some of his streamers, so like I'm not huge on How to Train Your Dragon. It was never really one of my favorites, to be honest. Let me say, I think Chris Sanders is a great talent nonetheless. Like, oh yeah, I also forgot he worked on The Croods too. I'm not a fan of that one either. But like, I will say, for Disney, like, he's mostly known for Lilo and Stitch, but for Disney, especially during the Renaissance era, he helped a lot during it. Like he helped out on Beauty and the Beast. He came up with the Beast designs. He pretty much did a lot of the story work on The Lion King. Like so, I think Chris Sanders himself is just a great talent. Like people always remember from Lilo and Stitch, but like I always like to point out that he did a lot of great. He contributed a lot to Beauty and the Beast and Lion King. He helped out in the transformation scene of Beast turned into Prince, and he helped out with the Mufasa's ghost scene for The Lion King. So I still think he's a great talent nonetheless.
I always love stories like that where just like somebody who works behind the scenes is just normally an animator, and they just happen to also be a really good voice actor, and they're like, you know what, let's just throw him in. They'll make for good. They'll make for good.
Yeah,
like, they did a similar thing with Trek Forever After, with Paul Tibbett voicing Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh yeah.
The funny thing is, like for Gravity Falls, I heard that Bill Cipher was going to be voiced by David Lynch, but then like I always wonder how they came up with Alex Hurst came up with his own voice for Bill Cipher for Gravity Falls.
Yeah, it's very interesting because he voices like half of the main cast in that show.
Yeah.
But Bill Cipher sounds the most like his normal voice.
Yeah. Doesn't he also voice one of the characters on the Owl House?
Yeah, he voices King, and a lot of people are making fan theories that King is like Bill Cipher reincarnated, but like that's his punishment.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
And, speaking of like felines, my own little kitty just like came up and cuddled with me just now.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, the Owl House was made by his girlfriend, Dana Terrace.
I did know that.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. Huh?
Did you know that?
I did.
I knew
okay,
that.
cool.
Like,
well, that was for the audience then.
So I have no doubt believing that Dana Terrace like based some of Alex Hirsch himself while writing Kane.
Oh God,
sure.
I'm looking at Chris Sanders' notable work. He directed Call of the Wild. And that's a live action movie from this year, and it bombed horribly.
Oh really?
It was one of the last. It was one of the last movies to come out before the stay-at-home order.
Ooh.
And it was second. It opened at number 2 behind Sonic, which was in the second week.
Dude, Sonic the Hedgehog was beating everything at the time. Like Birds of Prey didn't stand a chance.
Had it not been for COVID, it might have overtaken Detective Pikachu as the highest-grossing video game movie.
Wow.
What would you guys want with Chris Sanders? Like, I kind of wish Chris Sanders would come back to Disney because he even kind of still voices Stitch even when he went to DreamWorks.
Well, he is. Yeah, he is voicing Stitch for the remake. I heard.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I think it would be cool. I'd like to see more of his mind being put to work on the Disney formula.
Yeah,
That'd be neat.
I am a big fan of How to Train Your Dragon. Croods is fine. It's harmless.
Yeah, when I heard that Croods was getting a sequel, I was just like, all right. Okay.
I'm confused why it has a sequel, because it's not like it was that particularly successful. But the fact that it does have a sequel gives me hope that maybe Captain Underpants will get a sequel too.
Yeah. I haven't checked out the TV series, but I never really heard that much about it.
I watched the first episode of the TV show and I couldn't finish it.
Oh,
really? Was it that bad?
It was not good at all.
Which
they got actual kids to voice George and Harold, and it just did not feel good at all. Like, this doesn't sound right.
Like, the thing is, Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch had like great vocal performances and chemistry in the first one. It's kind of hard to top it.
It's just like, how can you expect to top that with like actual kids? It's just unfair. It's unfair to the kids. I'm not trying to be mean to those kids. Like they were clearly trying their best, but like they were put in an unfair situation.
Yeah.
But anyway, Lion King. I'm probably gonna save my vote for later.
Okay.
For now, I'm gonna rewatch Lilo and Stitch and then reevaluate.
Okay. I just pinned the polls in the chat.
Thank you, good sir.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to say on these movies?
Nah, I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
It really feels like we've been exhausting them for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, we made it through 4 rounds with these movies.
That's true.
What more do you have to say?
That's why we had to go on tangents.
Exactly. There's only so many times you can say the same things about the same movies, but I
Family
think this
Guy
is
episode was funny. There, I said it. That's all you could say.
so.
It's hard.
Yeah, I think that just about wraps it up. Voting closes on Sunday. I'll release an update video with the results not too long after, and then we will have our class champions and the final 4. Oh boy, this is exciting.
What have we been waiting for?
How are we going to fill up this amount of runtime with just 4 movies?
I don't even know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll draw straws and then do a finale immediately. Could you imagine how upset everyone would be if we just left it up to chance for the final thing?
Oh god, that'd be the worst.
For this one, we're just gonna see whose tail comes out first, like they did in Cinderella.
Yeah.